Hello, hello, welcome to Verbling. My name is Joe, and today we're going to learn how to cook empanadas, which is spelled, I think I spelled it incorrectly, Empanadas. Empanadas. Hello, welcome, Iman.
Hello. Hi.
Hi, how are you?
Fine. Looking forward to those enchiladas.
Ah, okay,
To eat
okay.
them.
They are actually cooking. They have 17 minutes left in the oven.
Oh, that's wonderful. So you will give me some, don't you?
Yes, I have plenty. I have 7.
Good.
So I will give you one.
Hi,
Okay.
my teacher.
Hello, Sultan.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Where are you from?
From Saudi Arabia.
Saudi Arabia. Okay, awesome. That's really cool. Okay.
Hello,
So
everybody.
yes, hello.
Hello, how are you?
Good. How are you? How do you pronounce your name?
Yeah, my name is Sanad.
What is it?
Sanad.
Senate.
Yeah.
He's Saudi, maybe.
S Are you?
Yeah, yeah.
You're
I am
Saudi?
sorry.
Okay. Senate. Okay. I'll remember that. Senate. Okay. Awesome. Welcome everybody. It looks like we have 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. Oh, you brought your puppy. Aw.
Number 9. Are you number 9, Suki?
What's her name?
Suki.
Suki. Aw. She's gonna
Suki.
learn how to make empanadas today.
She's gonna eat. She will eat all the empanadas. She's only
Okay.
ready to eat.
Aw. Okay. Wow. She's really cute. Okay. So let's see. So we have 7 people. So the 2 minutes should be up pretty soon. Okay. There we go. So now the rest of the people are joining. Okay. Good. So, hi everybody. Welcome.
Hi.
Today we're going to be learning how to make empanadas. So if you were in my previous class, or if you saw it, we made enchiladas, which are still cooking in the oven. I don't know if you can see the timer. It says 15 minutes. So those are still cooking. So hopefully they're done by the time our empanadas are ready. But if not, that's okay. So you're probably wondering, what are empanadas, if you've never heard of them before? So I'm going to show you guys some pictures first, and then we will make them. So yes, I did spell them incorrectly when I wrote the description of the class, and I apologize for that, but they are spelled Empanadas. So these are empanadas. So they're kind of, I don't know how to describe them. They're these like baked goods, and you can put whatever you want inside. The inside part is called the filling, and this, I'm going to show you this part. Okay. So this part right here, the edges, that's called the crust. So here we have the crust. And then this part right here, you can see it's bigger. It's the filling. So that's the filling right there. So you've got the crust and the filling. So these are empanadas. They're very common in South America. If you look right here, when I typed in empanadas, it says related searches: Colombian empanadas, cheese empanadas, Argentinian empanadas, Spanish empanadas. So they're pretty popular in all parts of the world. I think Julissa from Peru told me about them, or maybe it was somebody from Spain. I can't remember, but either way, they eat them in South America, Central America, and Spain. So, like I said, the filling can be whatever you want. So we're going to learn how to make those today. So, before I get started, I'm going to share with you guys the recipe so you guys can see where I'm figuring out how to make this, because I don't have it memorized. This is the first time, and how I know which ingredients to use. So if you look, I'm going to paste it in the Verbling chat, which I just did. right up there. There we go. Okay. So there is the recipe that we'll be using today. So we're going to go over the ingredients. We have flour. So this is flour. You use it for baking, which is going to be used to make the shell of the empanada. So the outer part, we have the shell, and part of the shell is the crust. And then inside it, we have the filling. So you have the shell on the outside, the filling on the inside, and then the crust, which is that little part that kind of holds it together.
How do you spell the crust? What is
Crust. Good question. It's spelled C-R.
crust? So it's not the crust in bread.
Yes,
It's
exactly.
the part that is crunchy.
Yeah, I'm gonna.
It's
Here,
the
I have
part.
this. You can see right here. So, here's a loaf of bread. You can see this part is the crust. So we have the bread, and then on the outside, all around it, that's the crust.
But in the empanada, for example, you don't call all the outside crust, only the outside,
Yeah, only the line of
the line.
it's really thin,
It's
and
because it's crust is coming from crusty. Crust is crunchy or something
yeah,
like that.
yeah, kind of crust, like usually on toast, or let's say on pizza. Pizza crust is usually, it could be
Yeah.
crunchy, it could be soft or hard. Yes, but crust is kind of similar to crunchy. You could use it to help you remember that, but it's not always crunchy. It's usually hard. The crust is harder.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we have the empanada, which is kind of a half circle, kind of like this. Picture a half circle. Then you have the crust on the outside holding the filling together. Because what it's going to be is kind of like a tortilla. And what we're going to do is put the filling inside, and then we're going to close it. And to make sure that it's closed, we're going to seal it with crust. We're going to seal it and put a crust on it. Yes, good.
Teacher,
Yes.
what do you call the outside part of like vegetable, anything like the part where what you peel?
You could peel like on a potato.
Yes. Do
Skin.
you call it skin? No, not crust. Okay.
Yeah, not crust. We call that. Good question, because that can get confusing. We call it skin. I'm trying to think with fruits though, like apples, like banana. You have banana peel. So it kind of depends. Orange peel. With fruits, it's peel usually, like an orange peel, lemon peel. With an apple skin. Yeah, skin with apple. So it depends, but with vegetables, it's mostly going to be skin. Good question, though.
Oh, okay. Okay, thank you.
Okay. Any other questions before we get started? No. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and get started. So I'm going to move you guys over here. We're going to go over here. Right here. So we're in my kitchen, as you can see. And I've got my really long cords so that I have a strong internet connection. Okay. There we go. Okay. So, you can see some of my ingredients from the enchiladas. I was using this. This is my cutting board, which we'll be using again. Okay. So the first thing that we're going to do is grab a bowl. Because the first thing that we're going to make is we're going to make the outside of the empanadas. So, as you guys remember, I said shell, which is just like any kind of shell, like a seashell that you see at the beach. That's what we're going to be making first, the shell. So I'm going to grab a bowl, and we're going to mix up the flour, sugar, and some other ingredients. So here, we've got a bowl, a medium-sized bowl, or a large-sized bowl. So we've got this bowl. Now what we're going to do is mix up our ingredients so that we can make these empanada shells. Now the first thing that we're going to do is put 2 cups of flours. Now you're probably wondering, okay, how do you know how much is 1 cup? So I've got these, does anybody know what this is called?
Measurement cup or something like that.
Close, close. We call these
Measurement.
measuring cups
Measuring.
because they
Right.
measure things. Measuring cup, which is, it's just a really simple name. You wouldn't think of it, but yes, these are called measuring cups. So if you can see, can you guys see that it says 1 cup? There's a weird glare, but either way, this is 1 cup. And we can tell because it says 1 cup right here, which is very small, so you probably can't read it, but 1 cup. So the ingredients say we need 2 cups of flour. So my dad keeps his flour in this pot. So you could say this is just a flour pot. So we're going to grab 2 cups, and I'm going to try and do this without spilling. Okay, so we've got 2 cups. Alright, almost there. And this is hard because I can't scoop it out, which is what I would normally do. Okay, there we go. Okay, so that's about 1 cup. That's pretty close. So we're going to put that into the bowl, and we're going to we're going to fill this up again. 2 cups. Okay, so this is pretty messy. I don't know if you guys can tell, I'm spilling a lot, but that's okay. My hands are very floury. That's how you could describe them. Okay, so we've got 2 cups of flour. Now, the next ingredient that we're going to mix in this bowl is our sugar. So this is going to make it sweet. So here we've got our sugar. Now, same thing. Now these are what you use to measure things. Yeah, they're kind of like measuring spoons. So here we've got a measuring cup, measuring spoons. Because look how small these are. This is half a teaspoon. This is 1 teaspoon, and this is 1 tablespoon, I believe. Yeah. So we've got tablespoon, you've got teaspoons, and that's what you're going to measure these in. So these, you would call these your measuring spoons. Yeah, measuring spoons. So say that if it'll help you remember it. So we need 2 tablespoons. So that's how big this is. It's about the same size as a regular spoon, but it's just good to be accurate. So we're going to mix that in there. 1, 2. Now that seems like a lot of sugar, and it may be. I don't know. I've never made this before, so we're going to find out. But there, we've got our flour and our sugar. Now the next thing we're going to use is baking powder, which I believe is in the fridge. So give me 1 sec, because you need to make sure it's cold. So I've got my baking powder, which you can see it has a lot of uses. And here it is, baking powder. Can everybody see that? So it says we need 2 teaspoons. So for the sugar,
What this? What
what
this?
is what? Uh-oh.
What this?
Sounds like there's a weird background noise.
Where? What's the problem?
Okay, there we go, there we go.
I
you guys
can't
hear
see
that?
you, teacher.
Okay, Sultan, I think it's your microphone. Is there a...
No
I know.
problem.
Okay, okay. Nope, it's not him.
Not me.
Darn it, where is this coming from? It's gone. Okay, maybe it was aliens and they're watching us cook empanadas and now they're gone. I don't know. Anyways, okay, so what I used for the sugar was a tablespoon. So there are only two sizes when you're using measuring spoons. We've got a tablespoon. So I don't know where that's coming from.
Silent, silent.
Okay. There we go. It's gone again. Okay. Anyways. Okay, let's do this. How about, yeah, I don't know. Go away, aliens. There are no empanadas for you. Okay, let's do this. Let's have everybody just mute their microphone, and then if you want to speak, unmute it. Because I don't know who it's coming from.
My microphone is mute.
Okay. Alright. Whew. Okay, I don't hear. Aliens are gone now. Okay, so, like I said, we've got a tablespoon, which is what we use for sugar, and we've got a teaspoon, which is a little bit smaller. And these are your two spoons, I guess you could say, two different measuring spoons. So we're going to get 2 spoons of our baking powder. So you don't have to keep it in the fridge, and I don't know why my dad does, but you can, I don't know if you guys can see this, but it's kind of rock hard. Let's see. So it's kind of a block of baking soda, which I was not expecting, but don't worry. As long as I break it up, it'll be fine, and it will get, so we'll get, okay. So you can see it's in chunks, which that's what these are called, chunks. C-H-U-N-C-K-S, which I'll write it in a second. But, no, oh, okay, the glare is pretty bad, but these are chunks. Chunks of baking powder. So I'm going to put them in here. So there's 1 teaspoon. Now let's grab another. Okay, there we go. Whew, that looks a little bit. Oh, do you guys hear that beeping?
The enchiladas.
Yes.
The enchiladas are done. Okay, so we're going to pause on the empanadas for a second and check out these enchiladas. Okay, I'm going to grab my handy dandy oven mitts and we're going to pull these babies out of here. Whew, okay. So, I'm going to turn off the timer so it stops beeping at me. And we're going to pull off this tin foil and see how they look. Whew, very hot. Okay, so some of the tortillas got ripped off a little. I don't know if you guys saw that. So there they are. Now, before I'm done with them, I'm going to sprinkle some cheese on. Because, you know, it tastes really good with cheese. So we're going to put some cheese on. And we're going to put these in for probably 2 minutes, 3 minutes. So if you guys weren't here for the last class, I cooked enchiladas, which you'll see pretty soon. So I'm going to put these back in the oven for not very long, just about 3 minutes, so the cheese can melt. That's what I'm doing right now, letting the cheese melt. So if you don't know what that verb means, it's when cheese, you add heat to cheese, and it gets soft, which is what's going to happen, which you'll see in a second. So we're putting it in for 3 minutes. Okay, back to the empanadas. So we were adding our baking powder, right? Yes. So we added 2 teaspoons. Now, the next thing that we're going to add is our salt, which is, where is the salt? It was right here. Okay, here we go. So I've got this salt shaker. This is what this is called, a salt shaker. I'm going to write that. So somebody might say, hey, can you pass me the salt shaker? So you've got a salt shaker and pepper. Usually we just call this pepper. We don't say pepper shaker. and you just say salt shaker because that's what you do with it. You shake it like this. This action is shaking. I'm shaking the salt. So that's how it got its name. So this is sea salt. So we're going to add, how much did it say? 1/2 tablespoon. So we've got on our handy dandy measuring spoons, we've actually got one for 1/2 tablespoon. Which is right. Nope. Okay, it actually doesn't have one. Never mind. Here's 1 teaspoon, 1/2 teaspoon, 1/2 teaspoon. Okay, so what we're gonna do, we're gonna improvise, which, if you don't know what that means, you kind of go with the flow, which means we're going to basically find 1/2 tablespoon without a measuring spoon. So what we're going to do is take this 1 tablespoon measuring spoon, and we're going to put, we're going to fill it up halfway. So since I can't find my regular salt, what we're going to do is shake this salt into here until we got about half of a tablespoon. Now, salt isn't very good for you anyway. It raises your cholesterol, and it's bad, so we're not going to add a lot anyway. And we can always add some after, but okay, we're going to go with that. So this is what I mean when I say improvise. I don't know if you guys can see. There's not very much. This is improvising. Bam. There we go. Adding that in there. Okay. Now, the next ingredient that we're going to mix in here is... That's it? Okay. That's it for these ingredients. Now what we're going to do... Oh, okay. Taking one more break for the enchiladas. Okay, now you guys can see what it means for cheese to be melted, just in case you didn't know. Turning that off, we're going to pull these out. Okay, here we go. Let's see how these turned out. Now, for the empanadas, we need it to be cooked at 375. So I don't know if you guys can see, but it says 350. I'm going to up this to 375 so that way it can preheat. Now let's check out. Ooh, okay. This looks pretty good. This was the first time making it, so I don't know. I wish you guys were here to try it so you guys could say if it's good or not. But these are the enchiladas. Now you can see the cheese is melted because it's kind of liquidy. We added heat to it, so it melted, which is spelled M-E-L-T. And then past tense would be E-D. So those are the enchiladas. We've got green enchilada sauce on the top. So I'm going to let those cool while we're cooking our empanadas. So I'm just going to put this on here so that they stay warm, but at the same time they're out of the oven, so they're cooling. So this pan is very hot. Okay, back to the empanadas once again. So we've got all these ingredients in our bowl. Now what we're going to do is basically just mix them up. So I'm going to grab a spoon, or in this case it's a wooden spoon, which if you guys cooked, you know that these are used often. So we're just basically mixing this up. Just want to mix up the salt, the sugar, the baking powder, and the flour. So that way it's all mixed up thoroughly. So that's probably good. It doesn't take a lot to mix these, to mix all those ingredients.
What's the name of that spoon?
This, it's made out of wood.
Good.
So it's a wooden spoon.
Wooden spoon. Okay.
Yeah, which is, so anything that's made out of wood is wooden.
Wooden.
So like a wooden chair for, here, look, I'll show you real quick. Like these chairs at my dining table. This is wood, or this table, so it's a wooden table.
Yeah.
So, yeah, exactly. Good question. Okay. So, now that we've mixed these up, we're going to go on to the next step of the recipe. Okay. I think, okay, so we've got our flour, sugar, our baking powder, and our salt. Now, what we're going to do is,
You don't need water?
yeah, it says, yeah, you're right. It says add water. Now it says, we need to add ice water. Do you guys know what ice water is? Any ideas? It's pretty easy.
Cold water.
Cold water, exactly. So what I'm going to do is grab a cup of water over here. And I'm just going to add ice to it. So I'm just filling this up with tap water. And when I say tap, it just means from the sink as opposed to from a water bottle or something else. So I've got my cup of water. Now I'm going to grab some ice so that it's extra cold and it holds the dough together well. Now you're probably wondering, okay, where am I getting the ice? Now, I have an old fridge. Most fridges nowadays have an ice maker, which means in the freezer it makes ice. But back in the day when they didn't have ice makers, they used what these are called, which is an ice tray. So you put water in it. Let's see if I can. Okay, so you put water in it, put it in the freezer, freezes over. Then you break it apart, and you've got ice.
Nice.
Yes, so these are ice cubes. This is an ice cube.
Ice cube.
Ice cube. I'm going to write for you. Ice cube. Ice cube. So I'm going to add, I don't know, we'll add 4 ice cubes, I don't know. Because we want this water to be ice cold. And this is an ice tray. Because you use it to make ice. Ice tray. Just like that. Ice cube, yes. There is a rapper who is called Ice Cube. But yes, those, so we're going to have our ice cold water. So I'm going to put this back. Don't worry, nothing fell. Just my headphones. Okay. There we go. So, ice tray and ice cube. So here we've got our ice cold water. Stick my finger in it. It's pretty cold. Now what we're going to do is add it to the mix to make it into dough. So if we pour this in, can you guys see? There we go. So we're going to pour this in. Now it doesn't say exactly how much to add, so basically we just need to figure out how much we need to make it into dough. Because we need it to be dough so that we can make the shells of the empanada. So we're going to add some more. Now we don't want to put the ice cubes in here. Okay, there we go. So you can see as I'm mixing it together, it's starting to get harder, turning into a dough. Which is good, because it's exactly what we want. So I mentioned this in my other class, but notice how we're adding flour, we're adding baking powder, we're adding salt, sugar, we're adding all of the ingredients. So you might say that we're making empanadas by scratch. We're making them by scratch. So that's an expression that you use in cooking a lot. So I'm going to write this. So for example, when you make cookies in the United States, usually you're going to buy the cookie dough. It's already made. It's kind of like a long tube-like shape, and you just cut it up and put it on the tray, and you cook them. Now, usually, or what before they had that, you obviously had to add flour, salt, sugar, all of the ingredients, baking powder to make it. So this is called making empanadas by scratch. I didn't buy a mix. I'm adding the flour. I'm adding all of it together. So that's a common expression used in cooking. So you can, I don't know, can you guys see this? It's kind of thick.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
That's good.
There we go. Yeah, this is probably good. We don't probably need to add any more water. It's probably good. It's nice and thick, which is exactly how we want it. So I'm just mixing it around to make sure that I get all of that flour, all of those ingredients that we had, all of that mix. Okay, so this is pretty thick. Do you guys think we should add a little bit more water? What do you guys think? More water or no?
No, maybe more flour.
More flour. Yeah, so it's pretty thick, so we're going to add a little bit more flour. So, I'm going to grab my a smaller measuring cup, and I'm going to teach you guys a new verb, probably. So, let's see. Tilt the camera up a little bit. So, here's my flour pot. Now, the new verb, I just said I'm going to teach you a new verb. Now, I grabbed a smaller measuring cup. What I'm going to do is get some extra flour. Now, to describe how I'm going to do it, there's a verb that you can use, which is called scooping. I'm going to scoop out flour. So I don't know how much to add, so we're going to experiment. But what I just did was scoop out flour. So this, I'm scooping out flour. Scoop. So that's when you go down and kind of grab it. Like you could scoop out dirt if with your hands. Which, if this was dirt and you went like that, you're scooping out dirt. And that's spelled S-C-O-O-P. Scoop. Okay, so I think you guys are right. We should have added flour, which is good because it was too thick. Now, if you look, you can see it looks a little bit better. It looks a little bit smoother, which is what we want. We want it to be smooth. Kind of like, imagine if you were making pizza and you want the dough to be, you want it to be thin, but you want it to be smooth. So that's exactly what we're doing. We're just making this thin. Now, I could use my hands to do this too. I don't need to use a spoon, but I'm just mixing this up. So you could use a spoon, you could use your hand. I think we should add a little bit more flour. It's still pretty thick. So there, we want it to be smooth. So you can see it's getting a little bit smoother, which is good because it's exactly what we want.
Teacher,
Yes.
you said scoop it out. When we don't use a scoop, can we, for example, you said you with your hands scrape
Yes.
the dirt out. Still, can we use scoop?
Yeah, you're right. So look, I'm gonna do that because I got some on my fingers.
Yeah.
So I'm going to scoop out the dough like this. This is scooping out the dough. So this is pretty messy. It's still pretty sticky. That's how you could say. See how it sticks to my fingers? That means it's sticky. So we probably need a little bit more flour, right? Would you guys say?
Yes.
Yeah, little.
Little bit. So we're gonna
Or try to with your hands move it a lot.
move it a lot. Okay, yeah. So I'm gonna try mixing it up a lot. There we go. Okay. So I'm mixing this dough up. It's still pretty sticky, but as long as I scoop it out, mix it up, okay. I can feel it. It's getting a little bit less sticky. There we go. Okay. So I don't know if you guys can see, but my hands are pretty floury or sticky. Got all this dough. There we go. Okay. So what do you think? I mean, like I said, we're making this by scratch. What would you guys say that we should add? Should we add some more flour? Any ideas?
No, no,
If
no.
we put
No,
some eggs or something else, probably we will need to put some more flowers.
Yeah, well, okay. I don't have any eggs. Otherwise, we could try that. You think, Julie said, you said no. You think the dough is good like this for empanadas?
I thought you said if we should put more water. I
Oh no,
confused,
no,
but no, yeah, no more water.
more
But
flour.
yeah, the
More
more
flour?
flour, maybe.
Let's add. I mean, if we do add too much flour, we can always add water. So let's just try and add a little bit more flour. Now this is getting pretty messy. Okay, so I added pretty good amount of flour. Now the flour is going to help make it
And
less sticky.
do
Yeah.
we need eggs for this
No,
recipe?
no, for this recipe we do not need eggs. Okay,
Milk or something?
no
No.
milk, just water. Okay, so this is a little bit better. I think the flour was what we needed, a little bit extra. Okay, so this is now it's less sticky. I'm gonna wash my hands real quick so you guys can see. But now it should be pretty good. I think we just needed that extra flour in there because now it's nice and smooth, which is exactly what we needed. All right. Okay. Grab my towel, wash off my hands. Okay. Good. So, mix this up still. So, look, if you can see how it is, look, I'm just pushing it down, kind of spreading it out. This is a lot better. I think it just needed to be coated. Which that's a good way. I wish I could. My hands are a little bit dirty, but coated is spelled like this. Coated. Like that. Okay. So it's coated in flour. So what that means is if we had this ball and then we take flour and put it all on the outside, you could say there's a coat of flour. So there's a coat of flour. Okay. So it's pretty good. I'm going to hold it up and show you guys. Can you guys see this? So see, it's soft, nice and soft, and it's easy to mold or shape into empanada in this case. So we got this nice and ready. So just adding some flour so that make sure that it's not sticky. Now what we're gonna do next in this recipe is, give me one sec. Of course, now my fingers are full of, or very floury. Okay. So the next thing we're gonna do is roll the dough out on a lightly floured board. So I'm gonna grab my cutting board and we're going to put some flour on it so that it doesn't stick, and we're going to so we're gonna make the shell.
Corn flour.
Yeah, so we need to add a little bit of shortening. So you guys are probably wondering what's shortening. Now this is going to help make the edges, make the crust. So here, this is shortening. See this? It kind of looks like butter.
Butter.
Yeah, so we're gonna add a third cup of shortening. So I'm gonna grab my measuring cup, which is right here. Now this is a third cup, and I know that because it says a third cup on the bottom. So I'm gonna try and grab a third cup. I mean, it's okay if we don't have all of it, but we're gonna add this to the dough. This is the last ingredient. Now this is gonna help give it some shape. So we're gonna add that in there. Now this is pretty. It's kind of like butter. It's pretty sticky or slippery, you could say. So we're gonna add that in. So I'm just gonna mix that around again. And I'm gonna grab my cutting board and we're gonna make these empanadas. Now it's starting to stick a little bit again, so I'm gonna add some more flour just on the side, and then kind of throw it. So when I do this, I'm throwing, tossing it around, covering it in a coat of flour so that it doesn't stick. Because otherwise it's gonna stick, which is not what we want. Okay, there we go. So I'm gonna move these around a little bit so we have some room, and I'm gonna grab my cutting board and I'm gonna cover it in flour. So this is a cutting board. Cutting board. So just like the verb with a knife to cut things, that's what you do this on, or that's what you use this for. Cutting board. So I'm gonna put it right here. we're gonna throw some flour down, and then we're gonna take our dough, and I'm not sure exactly, I don't know if it said how many servings this would make, which a serving is like, for example, my enchilada recipe made 7 servings, which means it made 7 enchiladas. So a serving is just like the amount you would give to one person. So I don't know how many we're going to be able to make out of this. Maybe 3. It didn't say exactly. But what we're going to do is take this dough, which this is called dough. We're going to put it on the cutting board. I'm going to break it apart because we don't need all of this dough. So we're going to use this to make our shell. So notice how I'm just flattening that out. Put it right here so you guys can see. So I'm going to flatten this out. I wish I had a roller. Usually what you have is called a roller. You go like that. Yeah, exactly, to stretch it out. Good, yeah, exactly. So I don't have one of those, which is okay. Because you don't need it, but it just helps stretch out the dough and you can make it very thin, which is what I'm doing with my fingers. I'm just spreading it out. So that's what the verb, spreading this out. Okay, so these enchiladas are probably not going to look the prettiest because I don't have a roller, so I can't stretch them out. But that's okay. Now what we need to do is put our filling inside. Now for the filling, I don't have a lot of room. Wash my hands one more time. But I've got tomatoes, onions, and some beef. So these are going to be enchiladas made of beef, tomatoes, and onions. So what we're going to do is grab a bowl really quickly, put it right there, and we're going to cut up these onions and these tomatoes. So I'm going to wash them off, make sure they're just nice and clean, and let's make sure you guys can see. There we go. Okay, so here we go. We're going to here's my knife, cutting board, and we're going to slice up these tomatoes. Slice or cut, same thing. We're also going to dice them, which I'll explain what that means in 1 second. So you just got to be careful not to cut off your fingers, because that would be bad. Okay, so I'm going to stick with 1 tomato, because I don't know exactly how many empanadas we're going to make. But I'm just cutting these up. Right now this is dicing. So where I'm going like this and making it smaller and smaller and smaller. Because these are going to go in the empanadas and we don't want them to be huge pieces. We want them to be relatively small. So we're just dicing them up. Okay. So that's probably good. Now I'm going to slide them into my bowl. Hold them right there. Okay. Now we're going to cut up a little bit of this onion. We don't need the whole thing. Now this is a yellow onion. There are different colors. Yes, question? Was there a question? No. Okay. So I'm just going to do this kind of quickly. Cut this up. I know the skin, I didn't peel it all the way, but that's okay. So I'm just going to dice this up too. Same thing. Just cutting it up into small pieces. Has anybody ever had empanadas before?
Yes, sure.
Yes?
Yes.
Are they good? I've never had them.
You have them with different fillings. Some
Different fillings. Ah, okay.
some
Yeah,
people
fillings.
use
You're right. You're right.
chicken or meat, egg, what else?
Huh.
Cheese, ham. Yeah,
Cheese.
it depends on what you like. You can put
Okay.
inside.
Yeah. Alright, so I like onions, tomatoes, and we've got some beef left over from the enchiladas. So we're gonna mix that. We're gonna mix this all together because it's all going in the empanadas. Now, we're going to cook these empanadas on a pan. So what we're going to do first is put the filling in, then we're going to place them on a pan. So we've got our filling ready right here. So this is just the ingredients that are going inside of the empanada, so that's why it's called filling. So we're going to see how pretty we can make this empanada, because it's pretty small, so you can't fit a lot in there, only because I don't have the roller. So I'm going to see how best I can do this. Now, let's see. Okay. So I'm going to try and fold this over this way. Now hopefully this works, because like I said, I've never made these before. And I don't know how well they will turn out. But at least I'm experimenting and seeing how to make these. So I'm going to add a little bit more dough to this, because I want to make sure it's nice, covered up, and I've closed all the gaps or the holes. Same thing. Okay. We're gonna add a little bit of flour to that too. Okay, so this does not look like it does in the picture, which is okay. But I'm gonna try and pinch the edges so that we have kind of the crust. So see how I'm just pushing it out with my fingers like this. We're gonna add a little bit of dough right there. Okay. So we just want to make sure that all of this is closed up, and we have it pinched on the side. Okay, there we go. So here is our pre-cooked empanada. Now I say pre-cooked because it's before we've cooked it. We haven't cooked it yet, so it's a pre-cooked empanada. So we've got one so far. We're gonna see how many we can get. So I'm gonna grab a pan from down here, and then we're going to see how many we can make. So I'm going to spray some non-stick cooking spray, some Pam, which is what I'm doing over here. Make sure our empanadas do not stick. Okay, now I'm going to take this empanada. I think somebody has the Verbling window open in the background. Do you guys hear that echo?
No.
No, okay, it's gone now. Okay, so we've got one so far. I don't know how many we're going to be able to get, but that's okay, because if we can get as many as we can, then
Are we going to eat with you?
if you can fly, if you
Yeah,
can
but yeah,
come to
but
my
you
house
no, you can send us some by email.
by
No?
email.
Yeah.
Okay, I could attach it as a file and send them over. If you guys give me your
Yeah.
emails, I will send over these empanadas when they're done, which they take about 20 minutes. So my email's pretty fast. I think it'll take about, I don't know, less than 60 seconds to send. So yeah, give me your email and I will send over these empanadas.
Yeah,
Just
okay, we
kidding.
will do.
I wish. Oh, that would be so cool. Just think, if we could send food in the mail, that would be the greatest
or the
thing.
picture on this.
Or the
In the
oh,
future.
okay. How about this? After they're done, I'll post a picture on my Facebook page so you guys can see what they look like.
To see the result.
Okay, I'll do that. Okay, so this might be a little bit too much dough. I'm gonna turn the camera down so you guys can see. Okay.
Wow.
Yeah. do you
Very
think-
delicious.
Oh, it's gonna be very delicious. I'm very excited actually.
You are a
I wish-
good cook. Actually.
Thank you. This is the first time, so I don't know if they'll be delicious. We're gonna find out. If they're not delicious, I will tell you guys and say, hey guys, I put too much salt, I put too much sugar, etc. But we'll see. So I'm gonna. There's just a little bit more dough than I need, but that's okay because I can just pull off the extra dough Actually, I'll pull it off now, because I'm not sure. I don't think I'll need that much. So I'm going to throw that over there. There we go. Okay. So this is probably the amount of dough you want. And if I could roll it out, it would be good. But we're going to add our filling to it. And this will be our second empanada. So I'm going to try and get some onions, tomatoes, all of this in there. There we go. Okay. So then you want to try and get it to the middle. Then we're going to fold this over. Ooh, just like that. Okay, so this one's looking a little bit better. Kind of push it down. And then we want the edges to be, we want the crust in there. So I'm just kind of molding this around. Because you have the filling inside, so you can kind of play with it and try and make it as best as you can. Okay, so notice with my fingers, just to show you guys how to do the crust. So you're just going to want to push it down with your fingers. So I'm just using one finger, pushing it down like that. So then it becomes thinner. So that's going to be our crust, just like that. Okay, so that's a pretty good empanada compared to the last one. So I'm going to put it on my pan. Now, we're going to keep going. I think, how much time do we have left, guys?
6 minutes.
6 minutes. 5 minutes, okay. 6 minutes. Okay, so we're going to try and get these last ones in. And then I can put them in the oven. And then when I'm done, I'll post a picture for you guys to see. But yeah, so these are kind of messy. I don't know if you can tell. My kitchen's pretty messy now. But they're easy to make. I mean, I'm going slow because I'm explaining things to you guys, but if you guys were cooking them on your own, you could probably get it done in probably 40 minutes, which is not bad, maybe 30. And they take about 20 minutes to cook. So they're pretty easy to make it by yourself. Like I said, this is the first time I'm making them with you guys.
Yeah. Your girlfriend should be very happy.
I think she will be. She's in California right now, but she'll be happy that I'm the cook.
Yeah.
Good point. Yes. For the guys in here in this class, you guys should all learn how to cook for your wives. It is definitely a great talent to have. Maybe not talent, but a great skill to have. Because it's fun. I think it's fun because you can cook. There's so many things out there in the world, and when you guys travel and go places, you're gonna try new things, and you're gonna want to be able to cook them at your house, like me. And then you're gonna know how, so you can basically experience that culture every day in your house or whenever you cook them. So I'm gonna fold this out a little bit. Now I'm doing the same thing with the crust, curving the edges out. Okay, so this should be a pretty good empanada. We're gonna see. Like I said, I'll post a picture for you guys to see. Okay, now, do you think I should make a big empanada with this one, or should I split it into two? What do you guys think?
One big.
One big. Oh boy, okay. We're gonna see.
For the picture.
For the picture, okay. Hopefully, maybe I'll have my dad eat this one because he can eat a lot. Okay, so we'll see how big we can make this empanada. And I know we're close on time, but we'll get this one in. Okay. So, okay, now I'm gonna spread it.
For how many people this empanada?
This recipe or this big one?
The whole recipe.
The whole recipe. Well, I mean, I'm following the recipe, and I've made, here, look, these are the size of the empanadas, so, I mean, it depends on the people. Now, for guys, you might eat 2 of these, and girls, you might eat 1. I don't know, it depends on the person, whether it's a guy that eats a lot, a girl that eats a lot, etc. But I would say probably 4 people, maybe. Four
Yeah,
people.
and it depends also if it is delicious or not.
Exactly, because if it's not delicious, you're only gonna have one person eating it. The person.
Nobody gonna eat it. Okay.
Exactly, exactly. That is a good point. Okay, so this is spread out pretty nicely. Now we're gonna put our filling inside. So let's see if we can get all of this filling in. This is gonna be a big empanada. Okay, so that is a lot of filling. I don't know if you guys can see that. There we go. So I'm gonna try and fold this over. It might break. Hopefully not. This is a big empanada. Okay, so I'm gonna have to take out some of this filling because it's too much. Okay, there we go. Ooh. Okay, so this is a pretty big empanada. So I'm spreading it out. So I flipped it over because it's easier to spread out the filling.
Super empanada.
Super empanada. Or in Spanish, you might say like
empanada.
big empanada, or like empanadísimo.
Empanadísima.
Empanadísima, yes, thank you. Okay, there we go. So this is a empanadísima. That's what we'll call this one. So it's pretty big. This is the last one that I used up all of my dough. Now, here they are. How many minutes do we have left, guys?
One.
Almost finished.
Yeah.
Less than one.
Okay,
One
okay.
minute. 1 minute.
1 minute. Okay, well, I'm gonna show you guys show you
But
guys.
I think there you have to put it or paint it with egg, the yellow part of the egg. You can use that.
What do I need to do?
I think before you use something and spray.
Oh no, I put spray down. I put this down.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
if you don't have that spray, you can put the yellow part of the egg to paint.
Ah.
Paint it. Yes, it's the same.
I did not know that. Okay.
Yes, to make it golden, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll remember. I'll try and do that maybe next time I make the empanadas. Okay. So, the oven's already ready. So you guys can just see me put these in, and then I'll let you guys get on to the next class. Okay. So, let's see. I think it was like 20 minutes. 15 to 20. So I'm gonna put my timer on for 15, and then I'll see if they need to be cooked more. But that's how to make empanadas. Thank you guys for coming. This has been a great class, and hopefully you guys learned a little bit of vocabulary, some expressions, or just how to make empanadas in general. Because this was the first time for me, so it's probably the first time for some of you guys too. But thank you guys for coming.
Yeah,
and-
you are
Thank you.
you are a good teacher, but now you are a good cook too.
Thank you. I will post a picture. For those of you who want to see it, it's going to be on my Facebook page, which is facebook.com/joeverbling. So I'm going to post this
It was
for you
We can
guys.
see the empanadas cooking.
Yes, I'll take some pictures and I'll show you guys what they look like.
We should do seeing you're testing it.
Okay, I'll take a bite and I'll send you guys a picture. All right. Thank you guys.
teacher.
okay.
Bye.
Bon
See you,
appetit.
Joe. Bye bye.
Thanks. Bon appetit.